Nintendo's giving us a glimpse into their Switch 2 game strategy, and Retroid's back with an anticipated release. Hello, I'm Justin. It's Wednesday, July 9th, 2025, and this is your bite of handheld and gaming news. So a recent Nintendo investor Q&A happened regarding the Switch 2, and some questions came up. I read through it and I found something interesting. President Furukawa acknowledges high development costs and said Nintendo is exploring game software with shorter development periods that still offer consumers a sense of novelty. This is interesting. It brings us back to what Nintendo's all about, their tried and true strategy. They never chase the graphics. They never chase the processors. Sometimes they even purposefully go low power because they just want a game that's going to be fun for everyone, right? This seems like good news because the price of games, you guys know $80 for Mario Kart World, right? The price of games is really high. So what they want to do is they're saying they want to cut down on development costs and shortening the development period so they can release more games in a timely manner. A lot of people are speculating that this is them saying, hey, we want to bring games back down to what people want to pay for them, right? I don't have the same take. I think that they've already tested the waters with Mario Kart World, and just within a month, less than a month, it already sold over 1 million copies at that price. You can say that the bundled Switch consoles put a big dent in that, and that's fine. Those people still wanted Mario Kart. I think they still would have bought Mario Kart. What I'm saying is the market's already accepted this premium price. And Nintendo as a company, if they cut costs down and still get their sales, they're not going to cut the prices down of the games. They're still going to be charging us $80 per game. They're just going to have a better bottom line at the end, right? So, that's... Take it as you will. That's my take on it. I suppose I'm a little jaded now at this point, but I want to know what your take is. Let me know in the comments what you think and what you think this means for the future of Nintendo games. Is the quality going to dip noticeably, or is the price going to dip noticeably? Let's find out. Now for our next bit, Arkane's founder Rafael Colantino has called subscription services like Game Pass unsustainable. He claimed in a comment thread recently that Game Pass cannibalizes sales and devalues the games into a big digital blob of content. This comes right after Microsoft closed studios like Arkane Austin and Tango Gameworks, whose games were major Game Pass titles. Deathloop comes to mind as one of them, right? I feel like I have to agree with him on this too, because I don't have Game Pass now. I used to have it though for a while, and it reminds me of, you probably relate to this, when you put a whole ROM set on your SD card and you grab your device and you end up just surfing through the games, right? You don't really play much because you get what's called choice paralysis. Yeah, so with Game Pass, there's just so many options. It ends up becoming a browsing session, and I ended up personally having to cancel my account because I was just paying monthly for something I wasn't using. I have all these different subscriptions. I have the PlayStation 1, the Xbox One. I don't even have an Xbox Series console. I was using it for PC and my Xbox One. I have to agree with him. Microsoft has been just funneling their unlimited money into Xbox for the Game Pass to keep it afloat. I'm sure it's hemorrhaging money just like Epic Games is, but they're staying on course with that. And it looks to me like that's having a negative impact on the people who make the company what it is. The studios. On that same note, I don't think I reported on this last week, but many of you might have heard about John Romero's studio, not id Software, but Romero Game Studios, which was under the Microsoft umbrella, had its funding pulled. And a lot of stories were breaking out last week that they're going under and that studio is closing. Well, the studio itself released a statement and they clarified that they are in fact not closing and they are doing everything in their power to prevent it. The good side of what comes from last week's news about the studio losing funding is that other publishers have actually come forward, several of them, and expressed their desire to help Romero Games push that game they're working on over the finish line. Awesome news considering who we're talking about, man. The guy's a legend, right? So John Romero himself has said that the team and the game are worth fighting for, and I have to agree with him for sure. I don't even know what game this is that's coming out, but this is all worth fighting for. And as children, we don't really look behind the mask of the game so much. As adults, especially working adults, the labor that goes behind it has become a much bigger deal, and we see that. And art preservation or not, these people still need to feed their families, and they're all talented, and no one should just be kicked to the curb over number crunching, right? So awesome. Romero Studios, as of now, is not closing, and that game looks like it's still going to be pushed forward. I'll keep an eye on this and let you know if anything else comes up. We got a lighter story now. There's a Pokemon fan from Denmark who got a chance to meet Pope Leo XIV at the Vatican on the 5th of July. So this fan, I mentioned he was a Pokemon fan because he brought 2 Popplio cards. If you're not familiar, I'll show them on the screen right now, to the Vatican and approached Pope Leo XIV with his Popplio cards and asked for him to sign it. Apparently, the Pope seemed to get the joke and did autograph the card for him. As a matter of fact, he also blessed the holographic card. So the fan has stated that he will cherish the card as a personal artifact forever and has no intention of selling it. That's pretty funny. I like that. I never thought about that, Popplio. The next bit today is a pretty big emulator update. MelonDS is kind of the big deal in DS emulation right now, and they have finally released the 1.0. It was released yesterday, and it's a huge milestone. So they've got a lot of improvements, even new hardware support. Apparently you can hook up the motion pack or the guitar grip and play Guitar Hero on tour. I don't know how that works. I'm actually kind of curious to see what's going on with that. But again, I don't know now, so I can't tell you. There's also quality of life improvements like lowered audio latency, which is always good. And if you're using the Windows version of MelonDS, there's now support for OpenGL, which means you can have multiple separate windows for each screen of your DS, which that's awesome. Also, DSi camera issues have been fixed, and that allows previously unplayable DSi titles that utilize the camera to now be playable. So do you use MelonDS? I haven't emulated a lot of DS games lately. I usually just use my DS. I have the DSi XL is, in my opinion, the GOAT of DS emulation, really. And then there's the 3DS, of course. Obviously, not everybody has access to those things. This is really good news for a DS emulation, and it's really cool to see the 1.0 out. So congratulations, MelonDS team. That's great news. Now, on a similar note, not quite dual screen emulation, but Retroid made an announcement yesterday. The Retroid Pocket Flip 2, as of the time you're viewing this video, is up for order in the Dimensity 1100 model. You may be familiar with this, but if you're not, a while back, what was it, a few months ago, Retroid released the Pocket 2, and they announced 2 SoCs for it. They have the Snapdragon 865, which is the same as the Retroid Pocket 5, and they have the Dimensity 1100, which is the same as the Retroid Pocket 4 Pro. The Dimensity 1100 is going to be a little bit cheaper, but they didn't have it available upon launch. Fast forward to now it is. Now it's available. If the Snapdragon model of it was a little pricey for you, you can now get the Dimensity version, sub 200. It's $199, and it's a good deal. If you were considering it and you're not sure, let me alleviate those fears. The Dimensity 1100 is a great system. You can ask any Retroid Pocket 4 owner, they'll tell you it's awesome. The benefit with the Snapdragon is that it's a bit more compatible, and you got the turnip drivers, right? The Dimensity chip is still very compatible, and it's still very powerful. I don't know how well you're going to be emulating Switch, PS2, probably. I haven't tested that myself, but this is a solid device, and it opens up the door. You know, it's a sub 200, and as of now, I haven't seen any negative comments about the hinge on this one. You may know that the Flip 1 just was a mess with that. So if you're interested, there you go. I just want to put out there that if you already have a Retroid Pocket 5, I don't know, unless you want that specifically, the Flip, but that dual screen add-on is also coming in August, and it's basically going to turn a Retroid Pocket 5 into a Flip, but with dual screen. So there's that to chew on. Now for today's community spotlight, I want to highlight something I found on the r/emulation subreddit. A user, their name highlighted on the screen right now, has released a web-based CHD compressor. Now, if you don't know what CHD is, it stands for compressed hunks of data. And for a lot of CD-based consoles, PlayStation's the big example I can think of right now. I think Sega CD as well. They traditionally use bin and Q files, 2 separate files for one game. You've got the game files on the bin, and you've got the track listing on the Q file. This is also something that's going to be familiar if you're into audio. So what a CHD compressor does is it turns those files into one singular file that your emulator will read. It makes a big deal because sometimes emulators or front ends will see the bin and queue files and they'll list both those, and it just becomes an ugly, unorganized mess, having 2 listings for each game. And on top of that, you're going to save a lot of space when you compress them into these CHD files without losing any quality. If I remember correctly, you're getting like 40-50% compression sometimes, and that's a big deal. It's going to save you a lot of space and make your games better. There's no downside to this. So before, you had to get a batch file and download that, or maybe there's a program you install and move the bin and queue files into it and convert it yourself on your computer. This is cool because it's all web-based. You don't have to install anything, and they have an emulator in the browser to test your CHD files and make sure they work. Really cool. Just drag and drop. So kudos to you. I think that's great. I can't wait to use this. I'm going to go through my disc-based game collection and see if there's anything that needs conversion. And I suggest you do the same. Let's check it out. Let's try it out. And if you try it, I haven't tried it yet. So if you try it and you find anything you want to talk about, let me know. If it works well or if it's a little buggy, let me know. And I'll have the link to the Reddit. You could probably let the developer know themselves too. So for today's On the Radar segment, I want to talk about something that was on the Retro Achievements forum. So they have a weekly topic they like to talk about. They have it on the forum and they have it on the Discord. This week's topic was in celebration of the games done quick. The GDQ is happening right now if you don't know about it. And they asked, what is your favorite game to speedrun? Now, let me start with this. I just got to say this first. I want to thank all of you watching right now or listening, because I just recently broke 100 subscribers. I've been doing this for about a month, and I know that 100 subscribers in the grand scheme of things with YouTube is piddly. It's nothing, right? But for me, when I think about this, there's 100 people out there that are willing to sit and watch or listen to me talk and interact with me about the things I'm passionate about. That means so much to me. And again, I just want to put it out there. Thank you so much. I hope you stick with me and we keep growing this channel and the quality of the content that I bring to you. That being said, I am definitely not a speedrunner. If I had to pick a game that I could speedrun, I'd probably say Super Mario World. I think I could probably get through that whole game in one sitting, all gates. If we factor in the family and the kids, that's definitely a no-go. But if, in a perfect environment, I could do that. Another game that's a comfort for me to just fly through is Kirby's Dream Land, but that's nothing, right? So I wanted to hear from you. Are any of you speedrunning, or are you speedrunners of anything? It's always been a really cool subject. And if you are, what game do you speedrun? If you're not, what game do you play the same way I play Super Mario World? What's your comfort game you can just fly through without thinking about? Let me know in the comments. I want to hear about it. I want to talk about it. And again, thank you all so much for sticking around and making this a great first month for me. Again, 100 subscribers is cool. I love it. I'm learning all this from scratch. I'm learning so much. I just upgraded my lighting. I'm trying this whole 3-point thing. But yeah, that's going to be it for today's bite of handheld and gaming news. Don't forget to comment, like, subscribe, ring that notification bell so you don't miss another episode. And I hope you have an awesome day. I'll see you again Friday. So you take care. See ya.